For my presentation, the Neuroscience Beyond Usability. Maybe you will ask about why neuroscience, why usability at the Pearl conference. Because usability is everywhere. Usability is actually the thing that user will see at the end. Not the technology we use, just the thing. Who am I? My name is Andrea. I'm working in the testing department at Amazon. I'm a usability specialist and tester. I'm a speaker and volunteer. You can follow me on Twitter and on LinkedIn if you want to see more about me. Okay. I have a thing. User think that it's their fault if they do not know how to use a software program. Was a day when I opened an application and I was like, okay, how will I use that? I have a problem. I do not know how to use it. It's my problem. It's their problem. Actually, it's the company problem. It's the company who developed that application problem. That thing is said by Krug, who wrote a very good book, Don't Make Me Think, it's called, which I really recommend it. So what you will find about in this presentation, you will find about some brain involvement of in perception of a website. You will find how the neurons are working, and you will find how many neurons we have. Why usability? What is usability? Actually, usability actually is user-friendly. Is not user-friendly is not just a characteristic of usability. Usability is user-friendly. You need usability on your website. You need usability on your application. Usability is everywhere. Even if it's it's a very simple thing, it's known everywhere, but usability is everywhere. Usability needs to be on your application. Before I'm a usability specialist, I'm a user. Before you are a developer, you are a user too. And the websites sometimes are not really user-friendly for us. And we start to complain, oh, what a website. No. In that moment, we have a contact, we have a feedback button on that website, and we just need to contact them. So, usability is not just about consistency, it's not just about design, it's not just about flows. Usability is about some features of the brain. Some features are like emotions, having choices, memories, learning, and a lot of them, more than here. Usability is very complex, like any other domain is. Programming is very complex. Any programming language is very complex. But usability in their complexity is very simple. Or maybe we can say, okay, usability should be simple, but it's not. Why neuroscience? Neuroscience, as I said, is everywhere. Before programming, before design, before marketing, before everything. Because we're not just saying, okay, let's design a thing for user, he will like that thing, she will like that thing. No. Why he will like that thing? Why she will like that thing? Just because we put that a color? Just because we make that flow seem very simple? No. We put everything in our websites to be simple for users. Simple for those people who do not have time to use the program or an application. As Johnny Appleseed said, neuroscience and brain is the most fascinating object in the universe, and it is. We have a lot of neurons. A lot of neurons. There are some researches about that. Some neuroscience are saying that okay, we have just 86 billion neurons on our brain. Other one said we have 100 neurons in our brain. Actually, we have somewhere in those numbers in our brain. And even we have so much neurons, sometimes when we develop a program, when we access a program, when we use a program, everything is a big connection. It's like New York City, or it's a duplication. It's something very big in our brain. Even when, okay, I'm speaking now, okay, in my brain are a lot of connections in there. Are memories on my old brain, are memories on my new brain. I'm moving, I'm reading, I'm talking with you. So are just a lot of involvements on our brain. How do you think the brain works? On simple things, on an application. It's very, very important on a website to have patterns. Because when we follow an activity on an application, we are looking for similar things to find. Like, I don't know, a logo and a menu and a search button. Logo in the left side or right side. Yeah, I have two hands and they are very busy right now. It's very important to find patterns because patterns stimulate some neurons on our brain. What neurons? It's simple, dopamine. Dopamine, the happiness neuron, the happiness hormone. Dopamine, actually, it helps us to be happy about a product. If all elements of a website are in a proper manner for our brain, it's a pattern, forms are the same length, the consistency in words, the consistency in language, the color consistency, the personalization, is everything a pattern in our brain. So when we see everything in a pattern, in everything is consistent, we are happy. And maybe we will bookmark this application, maybe we will want to find more about that application, we will want to go deeper in that application. It's like, okay, we have a very good product, but till we can find everything about it, we need to go through a lot of steps, a lot of flows. It's very confusing for users because users do not have time. Right now are some studies made, like 5 seconds a user needs to go on a website and to see if he will or she will find something in there for answering his questions. Are just 5 seconds, not 10. And it's very important to have those patterns because he will scan. He will see some shapes because our brain is working with shapes, a lot of them. So how we can make something to offer our users some patterns? Use grouping, because our brain is working with groups, with shapes again, and it's very important to find a very good like an alphabet, okay? A very good customization for it, not a logical flow, more exactly, logical flow. Maybe after A is B, not after A is C. It's just an example. For example, I took a website, Arterix, and we have a pattern here. The pattern user and our brain already know. Logo, menu entries, and search. Let's think about a thing. Let's put search instead logo, and logo instead search. It will be pretty confusing for us. Why? Because in our brain, it's something like that. Okay, I already know that in that corner is the logo. Okay, I will watch in that corner. And if I will not find the logo in there, where is the logo? It will be pretty hard to find in that way. Neuroscience beyond the usability is not having complicated things. It's having some simple things, some minor things for us, but put in a very logical way. Again, a pattern. A pattern. It's very important for our brain, again, for our old brain, that brain with the basic stuff, like food, like sex, like social need, like communication, to have the option to choose. It's very important to have the option to choose. That's because a lot of neuroscientists develop a paradox, the paradox of choice. Why more is less? Because when you have more options, you will confuse your brain. You will do not know what to choose. It's like you go to the market. You want to buy some jam. You will find 3 types of jam, and more you will find after 10 meters you will find 10 types of jam. It will be easy for you to choose between those 3 types of jam than those who have 10 types of jam. Why? Because we will not to make a lot of connections. Maybe you do not know how that jam tastes. You do not know the fruit. You do not know a lot of things. And in that moment you are like, oh, okay, oh no, I have to choose. And it's very hard for our brain to choose if he will never had a connection with an element before. It's very hard. And that's because on websites, like, I don't know, maybe some websites from choosing an activity, for example, okay? You want to buy some boots, mountain boots, okay. You enter on the website, you see a lot of mountain boots. Oh, again, I have to choose again. No, the right implementation for it is to categorize those boots on different activities, and you will choose the activity you want to perform. If you want alpine boots, okay, you will choose alpine boots. If you want, I don't know, some just hiking boots, you will choose hiking boots. It will be simpler for you than to choose from a lot of them. Another example is when you make an activity, when you make an action on a website, like delete option or reset your profile or something like that, or edit your profile. It's mandatory to have on those actions to have an undo button, because our brain he will want okay, oh damn it, I wrote that things I don't like, oh I need to edit again, I want to be back on my profile, how? Okay, undo button and you will resolve all the thing. The user will be happy. The user will be like, okay, he let me to choose. I have the right to choose. It's not really good to have all the options. Like user to not to have choose anything. When you make an application, you need to let the user choose. And again, if you have a website for 2 kinds of users, like shopper and like shop, it's important to have a personalization for those kind of users, because again, brain feel that he is privileged. It's an emotion. And again, user will be happy. Dopamine is here. Mammoth have a very great thing on this. They have a research on usability and UX, and they put the user choose your activity. What do you want to do? What do you want to buy? It's simple. It's simple for user because he will know what to do. He will not waste his or her time searching for something. He know what to do. Attention and learning. We were students. Our teacher maybe were very blah 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 blah, and it's like, okay, why you're not paying attention? Because our brain is not able to pay attention when you have many elements, when you have too much to listen, when you have too much to read. It's impossible because our brain have its limits. Why? Because too much information. With Google is like, I don't know, something with too much information for us. Everything you want, you will find on Google, but it's not the best thing in the world. Why? Because we have too much information and our brain is not able to filter it. And after we read something, and maybe after a half hour we will read something else, we are not able to remind everything. We are not able to remind even a half of what we read. Why? Because it's too much information. It's like when you enter on a website. This content, its content is amazing. It's like, for example, I read a medical study about brain, of course, and it was an amazing article. Amazing, but it have a problem. What problem? Too much content, and too much content is good, but do not have an information architecture for letting the brain making some connection and to structure that information. No, just information. And it's a sin. Why it's a sin? Because a lot of companies do that. They put a lot of text on their website or about their services, about their products, about a lot of things. But it's important because this whole of information to put there the most specific and important information for user. I don't care about how many butterflies, in comma of course, is having a text. I don't care about that. I care about the information from there. It's like, okay, I'm Andrea, I'm a superwoman, I'm Andrea, I'm a usability specialist and speaker, and it's enough. Not needing a very detailed content, just some things, the information the user need. Okay. It's important, again, not on the website, not on shops, to have 5 or 6 major elements, because our brain to have the time to focus on them. Virgin America had something like that. What have? They structure very well the information for being easy to understand. You do not have to do a lot of steps. You make just some steps and you will find the information you want, and after that you will make some extra steps. But right now you will find just the things, the simpler things, the basic things you want to know. And it's very good for our brain, because it's like when you go to gym. before you start to exercise, you need to make some light stuff, because you will not be able to go to make that those exercise after that without something light. Reading process. Reading process is a must, and is dictated very well by our brains. Our processing skills are okay. Let's say that are okay. If you are governed by left hemisphere, it's very okay. You are in those kind of people from there. But how the brain works? How the brain works? They break words into letters. We have a lot of words. Break then on shapes, go to patterns, and after that we think in pictures. It's simple. We think in pictures. And another thing, it's very important on a website to have the content left aligned, not justified, not right aligned just for cultural people, but left aligned just because of that. And it's easier to our brain to know, to memorize things. It's like, okay, you have a paper, and on that paper you will have a text which will be aligned justified, and on another paper you will have another or the same text which is aligned left aligned. Okay. On the justified text, you will not be able to memorize or to know too many things about after you will read it. Why? Because our brain thinks in shapes, again in patterns. And on left aligned text, you will see some shapes, some patterns. When the justified text is just a block, is just a shape. And how our brain is thinking in shapes and in patterns, it's very important to have some shapes. And it's easier. As I said, neuroscience beyond usability is easy. Just to have the time and the dedication to find some things about it. Okay. On cultural impact, you will say, okay, but how the people from there, why their hemisphere is left, but they have the text on the right? The brain can be really affected by the cultural environment. The cultural environment can modify in the same way the brain activity, the brain as we know it. Okay. An example from Smashing magazine, where you can see left align. It's easy to read. You will read very quickly because our shapes, a lot of shapes. Okay. Visual elements. We are seeing just 24 shapes. And from those shapes, we can see a people. I have a circle, I have a square, and that's the way our brain works. But very, very, very quickly. And these shapes are everywhere, in images, in reading, everywhere, in everything, even in colors. Because, okay, we have a website where we put some colors, like a light red. Okay, I see, it's light red. After a day, what color do you see on that website? It's red. The brain is not able to memorize everything. He memorizes just the basic things. The basic things he learned in childhood, he learned on visual things like, I don't know. Okay. Our eyes communicate to our brain in 2D. And that's the reason why we are going to cinema to see a movie in 3D. We'll have a problem. We will have a really big problem, like sickness, like maybe headache, something like that. Why? Because our brain is not able by itself, by basic, is not able to communicate communicate in 3D. Okay, you will say, okay, so but I do not have that problem. Okay, I have that problem, and okay, I'm not alone. It's good. Yeah, and it's because of our brain. It's not because of the movie. It's because our brain. It's his response. Our communication from eyes to brain is not perfect, to say that. Okay. It's important to have, even we have a lot of visual elements, to not use decorative fonts or decorative elements, because again, our brain will not be able to read it, like something like that. Are not a lot of shapes in there. Are pretty hard. I'm not able to read that. And okay, you have some exercise. Bon. Cultural adaptation. As I said, our brain is very adaptive to cultural environment. There were some studies about it, about some website on some MRIs by Professor Sharon Bagel, and what she found? She found that Asians are paying more attention on a background and context in a website. That's the way he memorize, he take the information from the website, and Americans are more to recognize objects, to shapes. Their brain are working on shapes much than Asians. You will see a difference. Look just to a shop from Asia. You will see a lot of colors and blinks because they are very attracted to it. Their brain are very into it. They know how to recognize. They are very, very into those things. Like Americans are more on shapes, like text, like visual, but not really on so many colors, on so many elements, on just few elements. An example of cultural adaptation is with text on Columbia store for people from Israel. It's a very good adaptation. Instead, this or this. They have bugs. Anyone has bugs. Our brain is very happy when he met a story. And what is a story? A story is something he had a part told, a told part, a read part, and characters and emotional thing. You will say, okay, but not every website have this. Every website have this. We have visual elements, we have text, we have a lot of maybe a video, maybe a podcast or something like that. not everything, every website, even it's an e-commerce website, even it's a presentation website, it's a story for our brain. It's a story for us as users. It's like I begin the story when I enter on this website. When I see the website, it's about it. It's like, okay, I'm entering on a website, on everything, all elements are even not very common for me, but I'm staying there. Why I'm staying there? Because I will see there some patterns. I will see there some elements who will activate my brain. I will really recommend you Google Night Walk in Marseille. It's a very, very good story. If you never went in Marseille, you will really go in Marseille. It's a very, very good thing, and it's like a break for the brain when you are stressed, for example. As I said about neurons, every single neuron in the brain is complicated as New York City. So imagine now how many connections, how many things, complicated things are here. When we just read a text, when we just write a code line, a lot of things are in here. And that's the reason why it's so important to pay attention to neuroscience, to our neuro activity, for our users' neuro activity when we say yes to a product. Because when you know your user's brain, you will have a product for them, not for you. Not for something I like, something they will like. Here are just some of resources. If you have questions, I'm here to answer. So no questions? Mm-hmm.
Very often it's impossible to go back and they never show the same information twice as you entered it. So I've been in at different sites, e-commerce shopping carts, where the final order screen is just a pay now button and you don't even know the subtotal or your shipping and handling costs, or even where you're shipping your order to. They just show the paying by credit card, name of the credit card, and then a pay now button. You know, simplifying an interface, there's a point where I don't even want to use it because it's dangerous, due to the lack of information.
Indeed.
You said you have to go to pay by the card, but they are personalized. And that's why she shows that how the data where it's supposed to start. What if you do the website do that in text, that you're forced to go to text? You cannot physically get the shipping address first or that sort of thing.
It's very important to let the user know about everything on your website, especially on e-commerce websites. It's very important to mention that if you will use a credit card, to use secured buy, because a lot of users are going to the shopping cart, see that they want a credit card and no secured buy, they will left. And transparency is one of the best things in usability, like consistency, transparency, are a lot of things for our old brain, and for our new brain too, because we want to know something for sure. We want to know the truth. That's the most important thing. And why again the neuroscience? Because we want to tell the truth. I'm like, too many websites are not okay. And we are okay with that. Okay, I have a need okay, I will enter here. No, we need to go on feedback, to let them feedback, to roll, to write something to them. It's because of us, because we say, okay, it's another website, I will use it in this way. No, no. Indeed, but if you do not have an immediately alternative and you need to search a lot, maybe you will not have too much time. Okay? In this case, Apple were more on marketing. They have very good products. I have a Mac from, and they make a user to pay and to adapt. It's not easy because 1 week, maybe 2, 3 weeks, you need to know a lot of things on here. Like when you want to copy something, want to pay something. Here they want to learn user. They want to capture their attention. That's about a lot for user who want to learn about that, because there are a lot of users who have a Mac just because it's a Mac, not just because they need a Mac, just because it's fancy or is on trend. Are a lot of users on that way too. But do not forget that Apple is on the market from. Yeah, indeed. And of course, as a user, you have to choose. You have to choose. You do not like, okay, go back to Windows. It's just a policy. Okay. Other questions? Okay. Mm-hmm. I know. The thing with the distance, it's not because we are not we are not seeing in 3D. It's because our receptors from we see that that table or that table, we see that glass of water is something which it enters on our brains, something like communicate to our brains. It's like I'm entering on this door. I enter on this door. I'm just one. Maybe when I will go in there, I will be two. Is the distance? The distance when we see is something we, after our imagination was processing, was something we left after that. When we gain something, is 2D. When as I read something here is in 2D, and when I put the bottle here is 3D. Yeah, yeah, to yeah. Indeed. But they emulate 3D, and it's something we give, not something we receive. It's receive 2D, give 3D. Okay? One more question.